is only war.
What's up, gents? So 40k Dirtbags here. Thank you for clicking on the video. We're going to do a quick how-to guide, kind of tactics to get shunts going. Shunts working in your favor, getting across the board as easy as possible without dying. I wanted to get this guide out to you as soon as possible because we still have about 2 months left of 9th edition and all of our Grey Knight brethren out there. We want to make sure that you're using this to the best of your abilities, whether it be in friendly games or RTTs or even GTs coming up. We just finished a GT last weekend for Chaos Space Marines. We placed 3rd. I actually lost my first battle against, second time I played him was the little dwarf guys. I don't even remember the fucking names because I don't play them ever. And then I went 4-0 after that to take on 3rd place at the GT. So it was a super fun event. Then we got a GT coming up in ACO. That's going to be in about a month and a half from now. I'm also going to be running Chaos Space Marines. But if you guys are going to ACO, definitely come up and say hi. I'd really appreciate it. It'd be nice to see some faces, in real life. But back to the video. We're going to be doing shunt strategies when you kind of want to do it and when you don't want to do it, and kind of what really got me to really escalate to the #1 Grey Knight player last year, 2023. It still works in Arks of Omen, even though we're down to 6 CP starting off. Usually most of our lists we're going to be starting with maybe 2, possibly 3 if you kind of don't do every relic in the book, but we're going to go into the video and kind of set up the terrain and show you where you want to be shunting and how you want to be shunting with your Dread Knights. I also have a strike or squad of interceptors on here that are going to be showing where you want to be shunting with your interceptors if you have to shunt with your interceptors. Most of the time you don't really want to, but we'll get into that in the video. And then first I want to thank all my Patreons. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, if you like the content coming up on this this channel, definitely head over to Patreon. It's only $1 a month if you like the content. If you want to go baller status and be a Justicar Patreon, that's $5 a month. If you guys are interested in the competitive scene, you want to kind of pick my brain, send me DMs on Discord, then join the competitive Patreon. If you guys want to go balls to the wall and be a fucking Dirtbag Nation Grandmaster, that's where we get to kind of show lists once per month. We all run a battle report and be more keen to kind of like really do videos and calls on Discord. That way you guys can like literally just flood me with lists, ideas, or anything you want to get better at the game. That's the Grandmaster, and those guys are fucking awesome. Appreciate all you guys. So let's get into the video. I have examples. I got the board set up. This is our new printed terrain that we had from one of our patrons, our Dirtbags. Thanks, Mark. And then we got all the new objective markers, which are on 3D6 Wargaming. So thanks, Jay. That dude's fucking awesome. Go check him out. The link's in the description below. But we have our Grandmaster. He's pretty simple. Everybody should be running the Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight while you can, because it's going to be going away in 2 months. We have the regular Dread Knight. We have a proxy base, which if you guys don't, go on eBay and just buy a regular proxy base. That'll help you out in a lot of games. And then we have just our small unit of interceptors that we're going to be using as well. So let's go over a couple different strategies. The first strategy with the Shunt. First off, Shunt, 2 CP, bullshit, hate it, used to be free. But now all the points are free for the teleporter. So you can get 10-point teleporter on all of your Dread Knights for free. So might as well test it or try it out. Teleporter is a keyword where if you have it, you can spend 2 CP and you can basically deep strike anywhere on the table outside 9 inches from your opponent, and also you can spend 1 CP to fall back, shoot, and charge because you have the teleporter keyword. Same with the interceptors. They can spend 1 CP to fall back, shoot, and charge. Now remember, you can't cast psychic powers after you fall back because it is a fallback, but you're still able to shoot and charge another unit if you wish. So that's the teleporter keyword. But when we say shunt, we mean literally picking them up, putting them somewhere else on the table, and then being able to do whatever we want to do. That is 2 CP. It's very expensive, especially for Grey Knights. But let's get back into the overhead. So when we set up our Grey Knights, we have our Grandmaster, who I'm expecting is going to be having the sigil on him, which the sigil is the relic that you can put on your Grandmaster, where if they target you, you can then basically get a free shunt out of him, very defensive, so that way you don't get shot. they can then pick another unit to shoot at, but still it's worth it. It's once per game, and it kind of like messes with their head. Like, do I want to shoot at him? Do I not want to shoot at him? If I do, where's he going to go? Stuff like that. So we're going to just pretend this is the layout, normal standard, mission layout. We're going to put our Grandmaster back here behind the ruin, behind the terrain. We have our other Dread Knight who's going to be kind of like right back here. Now I always plan for one of them to be able to shunt turn one. If I go first and I can't really see anything on the other side of the table, you can redeploy your units anywhere on the table, or redeploy them defensively anywhere, in your deployment zone. That's the foretelling of the locust for 25 CP, or 25 points. So if I deploy this one aggressively, because I can't redeploy my Grandmaster, so he's going to be defensively, I'm going to redeploy or deploy my Dread Knight, let's say this is another Dread Knight, offensively, right there, so that way if he wants to walk up on the objective and do something, if this guy wants to move this way and do something, you can, or you have line of sight to the other opponent on the other side, turn one. Now let's say if you don't have turn one, you just redeploy them defensively, put this guy over here, and put this guy back here, and boom, now you're good to go. I'd rather deploy aggressively rather than defensively, because you have that redeploy, which not a lot of armies have. So let's put these guys back out here. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to be able to get Teleport Assault. That's the combo with this Shunt ability, is you want to get Teleport Assault turn one if you can. So my Grandmaster is pretty slow all the way in the back here. He's not really going to have a lot of line of sight moving back here or back here. So most of the time I'm either going to be teleporting my Grandmaster, or shunting my Grandmaster, or shunting a Dread Knight that is buffed up. So if this Dread Knight's starting out here, I want to put my Tech Priest right next to him, 3 inches away behind this wall, so that way he can put +1 to hit on that Dread Knight, so that way he can then be shunted or gated somewhere else on the table to get a line of sight and get +1 to hit. But for this example, we're going to be using the Grandmaster. So turn one, I'm going to be moving these guys into the forest about 7 inches over to here, kind of as far away as I possibly can, because I don't want them to get charged turn one. This guy again is moving 7 inches over to here. So that way he has a clear line, both of them have a clear line over here. And then I'm going to spend 2 CP and shunt this Grandmaster near these Dread Knights, probably towing this terrain right here, so that way he can see over the second floor, like through the window, because he's towing it. And also he's within 6 inches of these 2 other Dread Knights, because he gives them the reroll ones to hit. Let's say the Tech Priest gave him +1 to hit, so that way he ignores any dents or any minuses to hit on the other side. Or Drago gives one of these, usually you get +1 to hit on a Dread Knight, and then re-rolls from Drago on another Dread Knight, and then he already hits on 2s anyway. And then everything within 6 inches re-roll once. So this is the setup that you're going to be doing for 2 CP turn one, is the shunt with your Grandmaster. He's going to be able to clear off the unit that you really want to get for 5 points on turn one. If you can get Teleport Assault on turn one, you're already in a huge part of the game. Now, that's that. What you can do is you can use him aggressively, is you can shunt onto the objective right here. He can then cast the Purifying Ritual on that objective, and then these guys are still 2 inches, 6 inches away, so they get the benefits of the rerolls from the Grandmaster. So he's teleporting over here. You can have your other interceptors up here, start on the line and then hop 12 inches into this building. So that way they're doing Purify Ritual over there. You have another guy doing Purify Ritual back here. And then if you wanted to, you can have a Purify Ritual go off in the center. So turn one, if you can get a shunt, a Gate of Affinity, which could be this Dread right here. They can gate over here. Usually I save the Gate of Affinity for the center one. Go watch my other tactical video. But you can gate this guy over here. Now you have 2 chances to get Teleport Assault. But you get 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 objectives. That's 5 points, turn one. If this guy finishes off one of the units, or one of the crappy units that aren't a lot of guys in there, that's 5 points for that. And then you can put banners out, where if you get another interceptor unit up there, a unit back here. So you got 2 banners out turn one, and then turn 2 you can get another banner over here. But if you can get 10 points for banners, 10 to 12 points for banners pretty reliably for having 2 objectives, and also 5 points for Purifying Ritual, turn one, and then Teleport Assault, 5 points for that, you're already off to good starts. All right, so that's the first strategy, is getting the first teleport shunt from your Grandmaster turn one. And then if he's getting shot at, he can then just kind of pop right behind this building, can't be seen, and then he's just waiting. So he can either do that, or he can hop back over here, or he can hop over there to be more aggressively. But he has the sigil where if he does get targeted, he could just kind of go either more defensively so he doesn't get shot, or he can go more aggressively to kind of next turn move up, shoot, and then charge that unit. All right, so that's the first one. Next one, let's reset this. Let's go with our awesome Blaze of Victory Brotherhood. So I'm going to put him up here. This one's going to be aggressive as well. This one's going to be aggressive as well. And then we're going to have another Dread Knight back here. So with this list, we could have 2 Dread Knights, the Grand Master, and this unit of Interceptors. All right. So these guys are going to be right on the line. Let's say it's the 9-inch bubble. They're right on the line right here. If you have first turn for Blades of Victory, this guy is going to be scooching up 6 inches for the pregame move. These guys are also going to be scooting up 6 inches for the pregame move. Now, I love this. I love when I first started Grey Knights, I was always super aggressive. And this is kind of what I loved about this army, is you're so fast. So he's right there. Then next turn, or your turn 1, he gets to move up 9 inches. So he's either scooching up here. These guys are moving up 12, so they're all the way up to here. Turn 1, you can have first to the fray if you really want on your Grandmaster. This guy back here, or this Dread Knight, one of those two, are going to be buffed up from Drago, or Drago's going to give these guys the buff. And then one of these two are going to have +1 to hit from the Tech Priest. The one with +1 to hit is going to be shunted somewhere over to here, so that way you can get line of sight onto that unit. And then one of them is going to be Gate of Affinity over to here. You can either do it that way, more defensively, or you can just say, fuck it, I'm going to put all of them right there. So they're all within 6 inches, outside 9 inches of the opponent. So you're outside 9 inches, so you have this little like death bubble right in front of them. And then now your turn, this guy can charge, you know, somebody who's either on the other side of the wall or somebody right here. So he only needs an 8 to charge because he has first to the fray, so he gets +1 to his charges. Now every unit that he's in combat with or in melee with also get +1 to charge with everybody else charging it. So all of these other guys get +1 to the charge. These guys' charge is only like 4 inches maybe because they're already super close to the enemy. But these guys now have to roll an 8 to charge in. So this guy rolls an 8, get over there, and then this guy rolls an 8 to get over there. Now you literally have 3 Dread Knights and a unit of full reroll Interceptors in their face turn 1. Now this strategy doesn't work out every single time, especially with super melee armies that want to get into combat as soon as possible. But for other armies that are trying to shoot you from afar, maybe like Tau or something like that, if I can get into combat with them as soon as possible and then tie up as many units as I possibly can, that's really a good strategy to kind of get as many units up forward as you possibly can. That's Blaze of Victory. That's the Brotherhood. That's one of my favorite Brotherhoods, where you kind of get to be super, super aggressive and kind of get people into their zone and also do behind enemy lines. Or you could use it more defensively, where you can back your Grandmaster up if you don't get first turn and still do that strategy on the bottom of turn 1. All right, so that's another tactic with the Shunt going that way. Now let's talk about these guys. These guys, the Interceptors, right? If you can try not to shunt these guys, try to do that. Remember, Shunt is 2 CP. 2 CP we're trying to save up for our Librarian or falling back, shooting and charging, or interrupting for melee. So our CP in the Grey Knight Codex is so crucial. We spend it so much. So if I'm going to spend 2 CP for either a 5-man unit or a 10-man unit of Interceptors, it's not going to be worth it in my mind. They just don't have, like, they still need a 9-inch charge, out of the shunt, because they're shunting 9 inches away from another unit, and they only have bolters. So if you're going to be able to shunt and get maybe 20 shot full rerolls of bolters on a cultish unit to get teleport assault, that's probably the only reason I would be using the shunt on my Interceptors. Most of the time, they're fast enough to get across the board to get them where you need it, that you don't need the shunt. I'd rather deep strike them in than spend 2 CP and shunt them somewhere else. So I would put them in reserves in the deep strike and deep strike them in most of the time. But in the past 2 years, I don't think I've ever I don't think I've ever deep struck my interceptors. They've come in from reserves because I might pull them off the table for my redeploy and put one unit in reserves just to kind of walk on from the side table edge and then wait a turn, and then next turn they hop 12 inches and then go kill something. But almost always I don't put them in deep strike. It's going to be a unit of strikes in deep strike or even a dread knight in deep strike. All right. So if you do the mission where this guy gives out OBSEC, that's another good strategy, is if you're putting this guy over here on the objective and then he makes this sticky, this bottom right objective sticky, he can then shunt after, you know, the command phase. Once he's done in the movement phase, he can shunt somewhere else on the other side of the table and actually be relevant in the game. Now, if you have like another unit kind of just camping out back here, this objective is sticky now. You don't even, like, if there's nobody around it, this is your objective still. And then he's going to spend shunt to get all the way across the board and get into combat or get engaged with something else over there. So another strategy is just kind of putting shunt to get the movement across the table after you made one of the objectives sticky. So that's definitely a good way to add to the movement to your Grandmaster and just show how quick Grey Knights actually are. Here's a cool little strategy with one of the missions in the GT packet. You have the 4 or 5 objectives. It's the one where you have 3 in the center going this way and then 2 on the outskirts objectives. It's the mission where it's Dawn of War deployment, but you can't advance, you can't pregame move, you can't teleport or gate into no man's land. So when you do Shunt is removing a model from the table and then putting back onto the table, which counts as coming in from reserves. So make sure that you understand that's in the core rulebook, where you cannot teleport, Gate of Affinity, Shunt, do anything of that turn 1 into no man's land. But it doesn't say anything about the opponent's territory. So let's say your opponent, luckily enough, doesn't have a lot of models on the table, and they give you that room to gate or shunt on the other side of the table. Take advantage of it as much as possible. So your Grandmaster, turn 1, is going to be able to shunt into their deployment zone. Let's say it's all the way, you know, they left you this little room in the back corner to get in their deployment zone, because the deployment zone is 10 inches. So the deployment zone is right about here. So all that space, if they don't fill up that entire back row with 9 inches of gap that they're, you know, not being able to block you out, let's say the closest guy is like right here on the objective, I now have that room back there to put my guy, and then I could probably even get another guy back there or another guy over there. I'm going to do it with my Grandmaster, and the reason I do it with that is because turn 1, I'm going to be able to get teleport assault by killing a unit. He's really good at killing Marines right now with AP2, and you can spend 1 CP to get AP3, strength 9, even strength 6 on the silencer. So he's shunting over there for 2 CP. If you start with 2 CP, you can then spend that last CP to get +1 strength and toughness, or +1 strength and AP on your weapon to really kill the thing. If you don't need it, don't waste it. But he's going to get me 5 points for teleport assault. Now, these back there, if he wants to decide to turn around and shoot them, he's literally just going to be picked up and sigiled somewhere on my deployment zone. Again, you know, in my deployment zone, because remember, you can't do it in no man's land. But if he gets sigiled, he kind of gets picked up and brought back to safety in my deployment zone, somewhere where I needed him on this side of the table. But really quick, hops across the board in the opponent's territory, shoots something, kills it, hops the fuck back if he gets shot. All right, so that's a cool little strategy that I've done a couple times to opponents who weren't really expecting it, because you can't, you know, gate or shunt in no man's land, but they don't really see, fuck, he gated behind my entire army. All right, this is going to be my last quick strategy with the Grey Knight shunting is, if you can prevent or not shunt, try not to shunt, right? Don't use it just because you can. You get it once per game, and I'd rather use it in a really aggressive, getting 5-point teleport assault, or use it very defensively, where if I need to get the fuck out of there because I'm about to get charged by this entire, you know, brick of Terminators, then I can shunt somewhere else. But if I can save my 2 CP and not shunt, that's going to be the whole goal of shunting. I really only shunt if I want to be super aggressive turn 1 to get teleport assault, and you have 2 chances to really get it. Turn 1, you have the shunt, and you have Gate of Affinity. But you don't know if you get Gate of Affinity off until you cast it. So if I really want teleport assault turn 1, I'm going to guarantee it and get that 2 CP to get that teleport, that shunt off. And then I have an opportunity to put gate on somebody else to kind of gate them somewhere else. So that's the only way I really shunt turn 1, and then turn 2, 3, 4, 5. It's really kind of like, do I need it? I'm not going to go out of my way, spend 2 CP and just put something somewhere. I'm going to make sure that I'm getting the points out of my shunt for 2 CP. I'm spending 2 CP, I better get 5 points for Teleport Assault. It's not worth it to get a shunt off and try roll a 9-inch for a charge. It's not worth it there. I'm going to use it to try and get my Teleport Assault to get the 5 points turn 1, so that I will only need 2 more turns to get 15 on that secondary, which is one of the best secondaries we have to get an easy 15 by only doing it 3 turns during the game. So if you can save the CP, save it. If you want to be super aggressive and get a gate off, teleport, and then move your guy up, 15 inches turn 1 for Blades of Victory, have fun, do it that way. But in a tournament setting, really just want to save your 2 CP as much as possible. Don't spend it on the interceptors. They are quick enough. They can get across the table and get in the corners that they need to, and really only do it on these guys when you can get the points back for them. All right, so that's my last suggestion for the Teleport Assault. Hopefully this helped you out. I definitely love giving tactics and tips and stuff like that, so go ahead over the Discord if you guys are interested. Everybody helps each other out. If you have any questions, post on there. Somebody will get to it as soon as possible. And again, if you do like the content, definitely head over to Patreon and support the channel. You guys are fucking awesome. We hit our goal of $250 a month thanks to you guys and the Grandmasters, Justicars, Patreons, and competitive dirtbags. If you guys are interested in the competitive scene, definitely go check that out. There is 3D6 Wargaming. We're going to be posting all of these stickers and objective markers. It's already up on the website. There's a lot more coming up. I just did 6 more designs over the weekend, so they just got sent over to 3D6 Wargaming, so they'll be updated as well. But stickers, dice, go buy the shit. It's awesome. It rolled really, really well. When you see the dirtbag symbol, it's just a cool thing to see rolled on the table. But again, if you guys are going over to ACO, definitely come up and say hi to me. If you guys are interested in more content, go check out another video right now. There's a lot of different battle reports, a lot of different armies, and a lot of different strategy and tactic videos that you guys can go see. But appreciate it, guys. Thanks for clicking on the video, and we'll see you in another video soon.